Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a good chance you will not listen to this in the evening, as the world's attention and conversation has now been focused on what appears to be a very tragic fire that may take down the historic Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. Obviously one of the icons of history, one of the places that is a shrine to many people of the Christian tradition, certainly a tourist attraction from around the world. And it appears that on this first day of the Holy Week celebration, that it might be destroyed. My goodness, are there metaphors and meanings in that? Well, let's talk about what we might want to think about today and perhaps as we go through this week. Yesterday, as I sat in church and I heard the pastor talk about the Palm Sunday parade, I couldn't help but do what one of my friends taught me to do. And he simply said this: be the one. Be the one. And so I tried to think about that. I wonder what I would feel if I were Jesus, knowing that this parade, this beginning of the week, is going to be a bad, bad week. I'm going to suffer. I'm going to die. And then, by hope and faith, I will be resurrected. But I will die, and I will die this week. I wonder what went through him as he had that realization. And I just tried to put myself in his place. And then I simply asked myself, what would I do if I knew that I was going to die this week? Well, that's not a far-fetched story by any means, because right across the street from our home, we've been told that our friend Bob has been informed by the doctors, and his family is there, that he will probably pass on this week. And so we wait. Melanie, I went to her funeral last Friday. She's just about my age, a little bit older, but not much. About 18 months ago, the doctor told her, very simply, Melanie, we can do nothing to help you. You have advanced cancer of the pancreas, pancreatic cancer, and there's nothing we can do to help you. You probably have 6 months, and after that, you could go any day. And that was true. And she knew it, and she said it. She did stay for 18 months, simply out of perhaps courage and boldness, and the fact that she kept herself occupied in relationships and help with other people. But she did pass on. And then I think of my friend Mary. It was a few years ago now. Mary had just simply gone through, after lengthy diabetes, she finally was on dialysis in order to live. And you know what that may be like, 2 or 3 times a week, to get up and go and have yourself attached to a machine and wait for hours just simply to stay alive. And I believe it was on a Sunday when all the family was together, which she informed them that she would no longer go to dialysis. And then simply she said what they all were hearing inside: and then I will die. And of course, that's indeed what happened. What would you do if you knew you were going to die? And so I try to put myself in that position. Obviously, I may be in that position. There's a good chance I'll be in that position. And how will we respond to that? A few years ago, one of my friends, who is a fellow coach, had an exercise called the O-O in the airport. And you know what the O-O in the airport was? That is, you're going through the airport and you accidentally encounter somebody who you are on very bad terms with. What do you do when you have an uh-oh in the airport? How do you respond? Now, the lesson he was trying to teach us is that's going to be a difficult situation. So why don't you take some time to try and avoid the uh-oh in the airport by trying to figure out who are some of those people who would cause the uh-oh in the airport, and see if you can't do something to make sure that that relationship is at least not positive, maybe, but certainly not negative and poorly positioned. How can you do that? Well, I thought about that too. What would I do differently if I knew that I had a week to live? What kind of phone calls would I make? What kind of straightening up would I do? Is there something that vital needs to be accomplished before then? Or would I have the preparation in hand, the thoughts in hand, that is not something that is going to frighten, and it is not something that is going to make me flight and have to do a number of things to get ready to make that happen? It's obvious that Jesus knew that he had done all he was called to do. There was obviously in his heart and mind the realization that from now on it was truly in God the Father's hands and out of his. So, what went through his heart and his mind if he knew, and he did know, that this week would be truly the week that was? Well, the reason I just share that with you is because I wanted to think about that myself. And part of the reason is that realization, that ability to ask myself and ask you that question might be something that could embolden us in our lives, and perhaps even give us a side revelation and a realization that could help us be far better in the marketplace and be better and wiser in the businesses that we do, and make us profoundly unique as Jesus-following Christian entrepreneurs. If you'll give me just a few more minutes, I'd like to talk about that on this Monday evening, or when you're listening to it due to the fact that you're involved in something else right now, and see if that could be helpful to us, not only in our life and in our following Jesus, but perhaps even in the business we do. There can even be wisdom for that, for you and for me. That's what we're going to do. We'll be right back.
He careth for you. He careth for you. When the worries and cares of your life seem to block out the rays of his light, never forget, never lose sight, for he careth for you, for he careth for you.
Once again, I'm Stan Houston. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. TCENglobal.org. TCENglobal.org/contribute now. And I thank many of you who took it upon yourself to say, Stan, I'll help sponsor you. I'll help support you, because I believe in what you're doing. And then, as one of my good friends Al said, keep the faith, baby. Just keep pressing on. It will come. You're doing a good thing. Keep doing it for others. And he enclosed a contribution. Thank you, Al. For that, I am profoundly grateful. Here's where we go. His name was Mark. And Mark told me something that was very, very vital. I was coaching him and his staff, but it was one of those wonderful situations where I not only had the ability to share some of my wisdom and insight from my experiences as a teacher, as a broadcaster, as a cross-cultural missionary, but he had the ability to share some of his experiences as an insurance industry guru, a man of the industry, and certainly someone who wanted to make his mark in the world. And he was, for sure, a man of deep faith. What Mark said was this: the biggest challenge in business is the one I'm trying to give to my young people. The reason you're here is to make sure that these 3 or 4 young people who I've decided to mentor and eventually turn the business over to, you are here to help us be profitable, to build the business and to make it grow, and then to help them be the kind of people who can take it over and be successful, not only in the business, but in their lives. And that's what you're about. And he said, this is the challenge. I keep saying to the young people, be the client. Be the customer. And that's what I remembered when I thought about Jesus on the donkey in the parade. What would it be like to be him? And so immediately my thoughts went not only to the event, but to the feelings and the situation. What would it be for Jesus? Now here's what Mark was trying to do. He said, we are in the insurance business. Nobody wants to buy insurance. Of course they don't. Obviously, they need insurance. Obviously, there are obligations they have to meet in terms of health insurance and other things. Obviously, there are things they have to protect. So we have all of this good stuff called insurance. And he said the problem is we think like insurance people. We talk like insurance people. We believe in insurance. We make a good living from insurance. And we forget to be the client. We forget to be the customer. And what Mark did and what we helped him and his people do is, hey, here's this proposal, here's this policy, here is this plan. Now, don't think of it in terms of us. Think of it in terms of them. Be them. What would you want? How would you feel? Where would you emotionally, financially, and relationally be if you were truly one of them? Be one. And that has stuck with me a lot. And it's one of the fundamental lessons that entrepreneurs need to have in their portfolio. You see, we love our business. It's probably something we're passionate about. We love our product. It may be something we even created and invented. And we think it is the best stuff in the world. And so we charge into the world and charge into the marketplace, being a business marketer, entrepreneur, being an evangelist for our product, and we forget to be the people we are talking to. Be the client. Be the customer. And many of those young people began to know oftentimes that when they went out with Mark on a joint project together, that they were going to be interrogated, and that what he would do is he would start peppering them with questions the client or comments the client would have. And they better be prepared to address that, be that, sympathize with that, understand that. And they soon learned if they weren't very good at that, there is a good chance Mark would turn the car around, call the client, and apologize, be saying that for some reason we're not quite prepared right now. Would you forgive us? can we reschedule? Oh, for them when we got back to the office. And so there was that desire, that great deal to be the client, be the customer, walk in their shoes, be one of them. And that's how we can serve them, how we can serve them best. Well, there we go. What would you do if you knew you were going to die this week? Well, I think you need to think about that. That's a good thing. And there's even more to it than that. What you will discover is when we begin to have less fear of our own pending mortality, less fear of our own pending death, there's a very good chance that many of the other fears that plague our lives and our business will probably begin to diminish. And there's some stories all about that. So think about that. But on the other hand, good lesson for you as an entrepreneur. Just as I seemingly tried to be in Jesus' shoes during the Palm Sunday service, I have to remember that as I'm pitching my stuff this week, I need to be the client, be the customer, be the prospect. Let's make sure my enthusiasm is not just for me and my product, but it is for them and their project. What problem, what solution, what do they need? How can I work to be one of them, be with them, and make a difference that will make them happy, make life better, help them go and grow in their life and business? What can I do if I become one of them? Just let that sit on your head for today. We're done. This is our first presentation during the Holy Week. We're going to be talking about a number of subjects that we hope will be helpful and useful to you as you experience Jesus more fully and His passion and the power of His resurrection, and also take that part of seeing if there's a little bit of an entrepreneurial lesson in all of these for all of us. RadioEdge77@gmail.com, RadioEdge77@gmail.com. I would love to hear what you would like to hear about. I would like to know more about your situation, because then this program can be especially for you, which is what it should always, always be about. Help me be you so that I can better help you. Please sponsor us if you can. Again, RadioEdge77@gmail.com, tcnglobal.org/contribute now. And if there's any way we can help you, we will be happy to do everything we can to make that happen. Just let us know. I'm Stan Houston for the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, tcnglobal.org, the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We wish you all the best and blessings. And take care, and bye for now.